What is up, everybody? So today we're going to be talking about GitHub branch workflow. This is question number 555 on my AMA. And this is a question that comes up periodically about my GitHub branch workflows. And so in particular, because we're talking about GitHub, I'm going to be talking about open source. The question asker, Sam, Samira, is wondering specifically about my how to write an open source library on Egghead. Let's see, what is it? Write OSS. And that will send you to Egghead. We're waiting on Egghead always, but so how to write an open source library, JavaScript library. And I show some GitHub things in here, but I'm not sure what more this asker was wondering about. So I think I'm going to talk about specifically the contributing side. And you can actually, I have another course on the contributing side that's available on Egghead, kcd.im/pull request. That'll show you some of this. And there's some like how to rebase and all this. And both of these courses are free. But I thought I'd show you like kind of the workflow pretty quickly. So that's the idea. I'm going to use Stack Overflow copy paste. That's what I use in my course. It's a pretty harmless small module. I can't believe that it's getting 1,000 downloads a month. Please don't use this module. That's what we're going to be using. So this belongs to another organization. This was back in the day when Egghead was still that logo, and I created this thing. So it's not mine. So I'm going to click on fork. I already have a fork of this actually, so I'm going to go to that fork and I'm going to delete it because typically you won't have a fork. So I'm going to go down here. We'll delete this repository. You got to type in the name of the repository and say that, and then you got to type in your password. And then we'll go back, Stack Overflow, copy paste. Okay, so you come to this thing, you've got an issue that you've looked at and you want to solve that. You look at the contributing guidelines, definitely check those out first, and you'll follow those instructions. Everyone is going to be a little bit different, but here I'm going to click on fork and I'll choose the account that I want to fork. So that'll be the Kent C. Dodds account. So this makes a total copy at this point in time of that repository to your own user account. The reason that you do this is because the original repository has settings that only allow certain people to contribute to it directly. So only certain people can push to that repository. Hopefully the reasons there are pretty clear. You wouldn't want random people making changes to your code. And so you make a total copy of that repository under your own user. And so now I have total access to make these contributions to my own repo. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll click on clone. I use SSH. You can potentially use HTTPS. However you need to do this to get that local, but I'm using SSH. I have SSH keys on my local machine. That's how this is going to work. So I copy that. And then I'm going to go to my terminal application and I'll git clone that. I'm just doing it right on my desktop here. And I'll cd into Stack Overflow copy paste. And then I'm going to follow the instructions in the contributing guidelines. In my projects, I have a single script with npm to automatically install, it's called setup, that'll install and run all the tests and everything. I made this several years ago, and so that was before I started doing that. And so we forked the repo, we cloned our fork, we're going to create a branch now. So and this is typically what I'm going to do. Actually, what I'll do here is I'll git branch. I keep forgetting because I have git aliases, but I don't want to use those for you all. So we're going to check out a new branch. We'll call it PR example, whatever. So I always, if I'm going to make a pull request, I always like to prefix it with PR/. Sometimes I'll do work in progress /. There's nothing special about that. That's just the way that I like to do things. You can call it whatever, it doesn't matter. But I like PR/ and then whatever I'm working on, we'll just say example, but you could do like add function or something. We'll do that. Okay, cool. So now we have that. The next thing I'm going to do that I don't have in here, but if you look in my other projects here like downshift and the contributing guidelines, I give this little tip to keep your master branch pointing to the original repository. So if you're going to be making contributions over time regularly or whatever, this can be a really helpful tip. So yeah, what we're doing here is we basically take let me back up. So when we made the fork, remember we're making a total copy, but GitHub is not going to keep that copy updated for us. That it doesn't do that for us. So what we're going to do is locally, I'm going to set my master branch to track the master branch of the egghead.io GitHub rather than my own. And that way, anytime I want to make a new pull request, I'm going to pull on the master from the originating repository, the upstream, and then I can make my branches based off of that so that all of my stuff is up to date. Now, I don't care what actually exists on GitHub on my fork, what the master is. I could push to that if I want to, but I typically don't really care to keep that updated. All I care about is that when I make a branch, I'm making a branch based off of whatever master is for the originating repository. So that's why I do this. So I'll copy that, and we just need to update this URL. So we'll do here. We'll just do, trying to think of the easiest way to go about doing this. So we'll clone or download. I'm going to use HTTPS for this because I can't push to it anyway, so HTTPS is good enough. Git remote add upstream and paste that URL. Then I'm going to git fetch upstream. So I get all the branches that are available there. Then I'm going to get branch set upstream to here, and actually I think it's upstream master. So I'm going to say that's the upstream, and here is the local branch that I want to have tracking that remote branch. So then I can say git checkout master, and when I do a git pull, it says it's up to date with upstream master. If I do a git pull, it's going to be pulling from that upstream repository rather than my the origin repository. So if I go look at git remote, I'm going to see two remotes. We have an origin and we have an upstream. I don't know how to use this verbose. There we go. So we've got origin. We'll fetch and push, which is interesting. I'm not sure what the distinction is there. I guess one is where you're going to fetch stuff from and the other is where you're going to push it. I don't know why you have those different, but then my upstream is pointing to egghead.io GitHub. So that's one tip. So we're going to git checkout. Here's another tip. When you do a git checkout, you can do a dash or a hyphen, and that will just reference the previous branch that you were on. So I can go back and forth between master and the PR branch that I made. It's pretty cool. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'll make my changes. So we'll vim readme. I'll say here are changes, whatever those changes are going to be. And then I'll git commit. Well, here we'll git add all the stuff, git commit all the things, stuff. And yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care. It could be, yeah, whatever. Doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to git push. And I have my git configured to automatically push to origin, and I'm not sure exactly how I do that. So you might have to do a git push u origin pr add function, or whatever the name of the branch is. I'm not sure how I made that automatic work that way, but with GitHub, it actually has this output that says, hey, create a pull request for this branch on GitHub by visiting this URL. So we're going to go there, right there. And what it's going to do is automatically get me into this pull request mode where I can see these changes, and I can go ahead and create my pull request. It's great. I think that's all that I really need to show. Once I'm all finished, then typically I don't keep my forked repositories around, so I'll typically just go remove Stack Overflow, copy paste, and that's it, and I'm done. And then next time, and sometimes I even delete the fork. but I definitely always delete the branch after it's been merged. And yeah, that's kind of it. If I ever need to make another pull request, then I'll do the whole thing all over again. If I'm doing regular pull requests to this project, then I might keep it around, but I really don't do that all that much. There aren't a whole lot of projects that I contribute to regularly that I don't also have contribution rights or like where I can push directly to that repository. So yeah, hopefully that was interesting. Let me just go to any questions that people might have. What's the database icon on GitHub? So that is coming from Refined GitHub. It is one of my, goodness, I don't know what the extensions. Refined GitHub will add that, and I think it does anyway. And that just refers to the size of the repository, which is kind of interesting, I guess. Pull fetch and merges, fetch don't merge. Okay, pull fetches and merges, fetch doesn't merge. Okay, interesting info. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much it for me. I hope this was interesting and things. Yeah. Next, I'm going to go answer another question on my AMA on the 3 minutes podcast. It literally is 3 minutes. I can't make it longer than 3 minutes. This platform won't let me do longer. So feel free to subscribe to that and catch my answer to whatever question I'm going to answer here in a second. And I will see you all another time. I hope you have a nice day. And yeah, sorry today was late. Just had a lot of things going on this morning. So good things. Bye.